One of the most well-known figures in Sutter's Fort's history was a young girl named Martha Jane Patty Reed. You probably know her because of her doll in this book that you might have read in the 4th grade. Patty and her family, along with the Donner families, left their homes in Springfield, Illinois on April 14, 1846. Their first destination was Independence, Missouri, where the California Trail began. They will leave Independence on May 12th as part of a mass migration of American immigrants heading west to California. It is not until July 20th, 1846, after just crossing the Continental Divide at South Pass, that a group of immigrants decided to split away from the large party they were traveling with to California, known as the Boggs Company, that they decided to travel away from the standard route to California, and they decided to take a new route called Hastings Cutoff, which was a new trail discussed in Lansford Hastings' new book from 1845, The Immigrant's Guide to Oregon and California. The group elected George Donner as their captain, thus creating the Donner Party. While it was supposed to be a shortcut, Hastings Cutoff added an additional 130 miles onto their journey. They also traveled slower as the group had to essentially create their own path, which put them even farther behind schedule and even lower on supplies. After crossing the Great Salt Desert at the end of August 1846, Patty Reed was supposed to leave behind a small doll with much of her family's belongings along the trail, as the Reeds had to consolidate their supplies into one wagon. Disobeying her mother's orders, Patty hid that small wooden doll in her apron pocket. The Donner Party reached Truckee Lake, now known as Donner Lake, on October 31st, 1846, and they were greeted with snow. They could not travel any farther west. After spending almost 4.5 months snowbound in the Sierra near Truckee Lake, 9-year-old Patty Reed arrived at Sutter's Fort on March 11th, 1847. The rest of her family were already recuperating at Sutter's Fort since they were rescued as part of the first relief party that came to Sutter's Fort about a week prior. It is on this day, March 11th, 1847, that the doll known to history, simply known as Dolly, was at Sutter's Fort for the first time. Over her lifetime, Patty Reed collected historical materials pertaining to the Donner Party and also to California history. In 1946, Patty Reed's family donated her collection, including the doll, to Sutter's Fort, where it has been often on display since the late 1940s. Many school children, especially 4th grade students learning about California history, read Patty Reed's Doll, A Story of the Donner Party by Rachel Largard, which was published first in 1956. It was actually her master's thesis from Sac State. Patty's intuition to save and collect California history is the reason that Sutter's Fort's collection is one of the largest repositories of Donner Party materials. She even had random other items too. She even had a rough draft of William Brown Ide's proclamation from the Bear Flag Revolt, known to history as California's Declaration of Independence from June 1846. But nothing in the fort's collection is more famous than Patty Reed's doll. It is something that children can connect with, after all, while also learning about the tragedy of the Donner Party. It is in the 1990s. The doll was even temporarily on display at the Smithsonian Museum of American History. However, since March 2020, Patty Reed's doll was removed from public display for conservation work and for a period of purposeful rest. The just under 4-inch tall, hand-carved wooden doll had been continuously on display for over 75 years at Sutter's Fort. And even in my 12 years here at Sutter's Fort, I have noticed changes in the doll's condition. I want you guys to know that Patty Reed's doll is safe with the rest of Patty Reed's collection in the State Parks Archives and Collections in North Sacramento. And we are currently working on making sure that doll could be on display in the future, but no specific date has been determined. It is disappointing not seeing the doll every day when I come to work, as it has been in previous years, but I'm glad to know that conservation work is being done so that doll could be on display for future generations.